Yo guys, welcome back to another video. Today, as you guys can see, we're still at my aunt and uncle's house. I'm still here for a little while. It's the middle of August, so I'm gonna be here for like a month and a half. I will be leaving at the end of September, which there's some big things happening. I'll talk to you guys about that here in a few, but that's part of the reason why I'm doing this so early. I'm on a little bit of a book buying ban. Just because the last week or two was pretty expensive for me. Yeah, I went a little off the hook. So I'm trying to save as much money as I can while I still have a job and all that. Yeah, I'm gonna be moving, so there's gonna be some things going on. I might have to step away for a little while, and I'll get more into that here in a minute. But yeah, everything we've got going today. I'm going to do the book haul, which is decently sized. There are some things that were bought for me and sent to me as well. I'll give a special shout out here in a few. That's probably the first things I'm going to show off. And then I have a very special package that I just got in the mail that I did want to unbox live. I haven't checked it out. Yeah, I literally just got it. I'm going to be talking about my reading plans, what I've been reading, what I've been up to. Yeah, everything we normally do in the monthly wrap-ups. It's just coming a little bit early this month. So yeah, stay tuned and let's get into it. All right, so the first thing, we're going to go ahead and do the book haul, since I know that that's one of the more exciting parts of the video. We'll start that off. I'm going to save the unboxing part for last, because it's probably the most exciting. But let's talk about things that were sent to me. I'm going to start this haul off with something really cool. I got an email from an author, indie self-pub author, wanting to share his work, and we talked for a little while, and it ended with him being like, well, hey, I'll send you a couple copies of my work. And that somebody was Mr. E.L. Montague. He sent me his little novella, To Catch a Witch, as well as, I believe this is, I assume this is like an anthology, maybe, because it says stories. I guess it's a collection of short stories. I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, heirs to a flawed creation, stories from near Earth. It's definitely got almost like a steampunk noir kind of vibe, which I'm digging. I like that a lot. Like steampunk, noir, cyberpunk, maybe even, I don't know, it just looks really cool. And then this one, I absolutely love that cover. That is awesome. Yeah, that image is super dope. And it's really short too, so hopefully I'll probably end up getting to this one before I get to this one. When I do move and get settled, I do want to have an indie spotlight kind of thing. There are some indie books that I want to read and review. Some standout ones. I've got the, what's it called, 11th Cycle or whatever, the Mistland books, or book, that big one by Artelin, I think the last name is. That's a self-pub, like, I think it's self-pub. If not, it's like an indie book. I got that a while ago. I wanted to check that out. And I was also sent a book by C.J. Irvin a while ago, and I did want to check that out as well. And so yeah, these are definitely added to that list of like the indie books. Yeah, because this one's so short, I do foresee myself getting to this one a lot sooner than some of those other ones. Yeah, and it just looks awesome. What a eye-catching cover. So yeah, I'll have links in the description for this man's work. He does have a new one that either just came out or is coming out here very soon in the next few days or the end of the month. So I'll leave a link on Amazon for you guys to go check that out if you're interested. Yeah, big thank you to Mr. E.L. Montague for sending over these 2 copies. It's very generous of you, man. I very much appreciate it. So we'll check those out at some point. Just putting the word out there, the good word about this. But yeah, before I move on, I do want to show that off one more time. That is so cool, dude. I love that cover, honestly. That is dope. Alright, so moving on, a book that was bought for me. I went out to the Barnes & Noble, or a Barnes & Noble with my girlfriend and her family. We went out for the day, and it was a really good time. Went to the mall and stuff. And then my girl ended up buying me Ruin by John Gwynne. This is the 3rd book in the Faithful and the Fallen. I'm very excited to read this series. The Banished Lands have been calling to me for a little while now. John Gwynne was one of the first authors I got into when I got back into reading way back last year now, or over a year ago, with Bloodsworn Saga. I fell in love with the Bloodsworn Saga, and I'm super excited for Fury of the Gods to be coming right around my birthday too. But once I finish reading Bloodsworn, I definitely will go back and check out the Banished Lands. Yeah, John Gwynne is such a cool dude, like outside of his writing. Yeah, he's just an awesome author. Really enjoy what I have read by him, and he's just an all-around cool dude. So yeah, now that I have this, the only books that I need to complete my John Gwynne bibliography is Wrath, and then I need the final book of Blood and Bone. So I'll have that trilogy complete, and then have this tetralogy complete as well. So I only have 2 books, John Gwynne books, left to get. Yeah, very excited for that. Moving on, I guess I'll show off some pickups from Second and Charles. I went to a Second and Charles that I hadn't explored before. Was a little disappointed, I won't lie. I didn't really find a whole lot. I did when I originally went there. I went balls to the walls and like filled up my cart, and then I had to like take a step back, and I was like, what am I doing? And I had to take out a lot of stuff from my cart. I did find some cool things. I found a British hardcover or a UK hardcover of one of the Joe Abercrombie books that was in the 2nd series of his, like the sequel to the First Law. I forget what it's called, but there was one of those hardcovers, and I'm not even there yet in the series, so I put that back. There was a couple other things that were at least decently interesting, but I had to be a little bit picky. So yeah, I ended up getting 4 things from there. I did find, this is something I've been looking at for a minute, Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey, or Ty Frank, and I forget the other dude's name. I don't know why, but 2 authors, they come together and they collectively make James S.A. Corey. It's like a pen name for the both of them. The Expanse. I've heard great things about this series. It's one that I've been looking at for quite a while. I'm probably not going to read it soon, but I definitely wanted it in the collection. Something that's been catching my eye as of recently, and you guys will see here in a minute that that's not the only James S.A. Corey that's going to be in this haul. But yeah, The Expanse, I've just heard good things about. Space opera. It's a pretty long series. I think it's 9 books, and then there's some like novellas and stuff thrown in there. Yeah, someday I'll get to that. I'm hoping. It just looks pretty cool. The second thing, well, I guess, okay, I'll show that off in a minute. That wasn't, disregard. The next thing I got, I did find for super cheap there, some mass market paperbacks to match part of my set. Each of these was like $1 or less. with my discount that I get. So I did find Magician Master, which is the sequel, I believe the direct sequel to Magician's Apprentice, which I did pick up, I believe, in last month's haul, if not last month, then the month before. But yeah, I did plan on reading this series. It was something that really caught my eye. I know it's Andrew over at Andrew's Wizardly Reads. It's one of his favorite series. I know he loves Raymond E. Feist. And yeah, him talking about Raymond E. Feist's work, especially his stuff with Janny Wirtz as well. All of the Rift War stuff I know that he's a fan of. So yeah, that's gotten me interested in checking out his stuff. And it really felt like a bit of an autumnal, I think that's the word, autumnal read, an autumn, fall read. So I'm planning on at least trying out the series here in the fall, maybe October or November. At least like the first few, seeing how I like it, you know. So this is the second one here. And then I did find books 3 and 4 in mass market paperback, but they are really cool looking old ones. So there's Silverthorn, which I think is book 3. Yeah, book 3. And A Darkness at Sethanon, which is book 4. I love these like old school fantasy, retro fantasy kind of covers. Yeah, they're super cool looking. And I'll show you guys this one here. I love the way they look. So yeah, it's not exactly a matching set, but I do have books 2 through 4 here, and then the first one that I got, The Magician's Apprentice, is the one that matches this guy right here. It's part of that newer printing that they did. Yeah, I really like these old looking ones. So I've got those. Moving on is another paperback I got. This isn't from Second & Charles. That was all of the novels from my Second & Charles run that I had. This I got just at my work earlier in the month. And that is Between Two Fires by Christopher Beelman. As of recent, he put out the Daughter's War, I believe it's called. It's like the prequel to the Black Tongue Thief. I haven't really looked into those much. I'm just saying I know that's a recent release by him in the last month or two. I've heard good things about that, but I did want to check out his other book that he had, Between Two Fires. This sounds super dope, like something right up my alley. It's supposed to be historical horror with like fantastical elements. It takes place in medieval France with, you know, during like the Black Plague, but there's also this underlying theme of like the war of good and evil. Apparently there's like a war on heaven by like demons and stuff, and there's like angels and demons fighting, but there apparently it's also horror, so there's like a horrific spin on it, and a lot of it comes from the point of view, at least like the prophecy elements of it comes from a little girl who says that she can like see demons and stuff. At least that's what I've gathered from it. And it's about a journey of a disgraced knight and this little girl going across the country. That is what I've gathered, and that just sounds awesome. So I can't wait to read this. Because it is horror, I might get to this in the fall, spooky season read. But yeah, I'm super hyped to get into this. And the reason I got the paperback, it's cheaper, but versus the hardcover, honestly, this cover is awesome. I know they did I think it's a Subterranean Press one, which looks pretty cool. Of course, it's, you know, super limited, super expensive. They've had a few other editions, but I don't really care for many of those covers. But this one is just a very striking cover, and I really dig the paperback more than the hardcovers, so I went with that. Now moving on, we have some hardcovers I did pick up at work as well. Next thing, we've got Michael Moorcock, a funny last name. But yeah, no, Elric of Melniboné, I think it's pronounced Melniboné. Yeah, Melniboné. Classic fantasy, inspired, to my knowledge, it inspired The Witcher heavily. Geralt is heavily inspired by Elric here. Yeah, that's really all I know. I know that he has an awesome, like, demon sword or, like, cursed blade or something like that that has, I think it's, like, sentient or something, which is a trope that I'm very much fond of. Yeah, I don't know much else. I know a lot of people like it. A lot of people also have problems with it. This edition, these like omnibus, I think they're omnibuses because it's a few different books. Yeah, it's a few different books in one. These editions have been on my watch list for a while, and they just so happen to come to Books A Million in the bargain section. I guess they recently got some overstock, so if you guys have wanted to check these out for a while, but were, turned away by the price of them, because they're typically, I think, $35, like, pretty standard for a hardcover, but you can check your local Books A Million if you have one, because there's quite a few of them in the bargain sections, and they're only, like, $7, so I got mine, and then, get a discount on that too, so, yeah. Got it for super cheap. That's really the only reason I picked it up. If they had just stocked them and they would have been full price, I wouldn't have gotten it. But I couldn't pass it up for what ended up being probably like $5. So yeah, I'm interested in this. Don't know when I'll get to it. But I've been feeling a little bit classic fantasy sort of vibes recently, especially after being introduced to Lord of the Shattered Land. Andrew the Wizard was talking about that. That's got me sort of interested. Also, Book of the New Sun by Gene Wolfe. That's also kind of been in the back of my mind lately, so who knows, in the nearish future I might go on a little bit of a classic fantasy kick and educate myself. Moving on, we have The Mercy of the Gods, or Mercy of Gods by James S.A. Corey. I said that this wasn't the last time you'll see this author on the list. Brand new series by them. This is book 1 and what is supposed to be a trilogy. And I figured I would pick it up because I was super interested in The Expanse. And if this is going to be a trilogy, I might want to read that first, to introduce myself to their style before subjecting myself to a 9-book series. And also because this is the first book in a trilogy, it's probably going to take a while for the rest of the series to come out. And that gives me time as well to be able to wait for those to come out, read the trilogy, and then start The Expanse. So I don't have to feel pressured into reading that just yet, and reading James S.A. Corey. It's something I want to get to. Yeah, this gives me time. I don't know much about it. I assume it's, just sort of space opera, space empires. That's sort of what I gathered. I'm not super familiar with what it's about, and I'm gonna kind of be going into this blind. I did watch a review, or I don't know if it was a dedicated review, but I listened to Mike's book reviews talk about it. I kind of forgot a little bit of what he said about it, So whenever I do go into this, it'll probably be pretty blind, which, you know, that might actually be a good thing. Who knows? Yeah, I'm excited to have that in my collection too. First edition hardcover, can't go wrong. The next thing is something I'm also super excited about. I've also been sort of interested in cyberpunk as of recently. That's something I've always sort of been interested in, especially even heavier after playing Cyberpunk 2077 last year, or either last year or the beginning of this year. I got really heavy into that. So anything sort of cyberpunk themed or have some sort of cyberpunk vibes. How many times am I going to say cyberpunk? Anyway, has made me want to check out stuff adjacent. So on my list right now is like William Gibson, the Neuromancer stuff. I forget what the series is called. But that, also some China Medieval, is sort of, to my knowledge, kind of cyberpunky adjacent, maybe not fully so, but like Perdido Street Station is on my list to check out. But speaking of China Medieval, I did pick up the book of Elsewhere, collaboration with Keanu Reeves. Love me some Keanu Reeves, and I assume that this is sort of like a cyberpunky kind of deal, just based on that cover, and also on the back is like a blurb from William Gibson. But this is also a book that ties into Keanu Reeves' Berserker graphic novel, which I have the first one of. I haven't read it, and I haven't gotten super deep into that. But this novel ties into that. And I do plan on checking out more of the Berserker series, as well as, other graphic novels and comics, which I'm going to talk about here in a little bit. But yeah, really interested in this. I just love that cover, and the fact that it's a tie-in with the graphic novel is also pretty cool. Before I read this, I'll probably read the graphic novels, and then read this and do a review on it, but I don't know exactly when that'll be. But yeah, it's just really, really dope. Alright, so that is everything there. Last but not least, we do have this package to open up. So let's check it out, y'all. I've been very much looking forward to this. This being released was a huge surprise for me, and as soon as I caught wind of it, I purchased it immediately. I've been waiting on these to be out for a couple years now. So let's check it out. Let's hope they're in good condition. Oh my lord. Alright, y'all, this is so cool. I am so excited and happy to have these in my freaking hands. Oh man, these are beautiful. Alright, guys. So, what do I have here? Ooh, Howling Dark and Demon in White, back in hardcover, boys. Oh my lord, I am so excited to have these in my collection. It's been way too long. So I was really getting into Sun Eater, being interested in it around the time where these were getting really hard to find. That was like a year and a half ago or something, year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. I was watching Matt's fantasy book reviews and watching his reviews of it, not really knowing anything about the series, and just falling in love with the idea of it and wanting to get into it. But I couldn't. I could have through ebooks and whatnot, but if you guys don't know, I'm a physical only reader. And that was also before the trade paperbacks were even out. So I had to wait forever for the trade paperbacks to be released. I had pre-ordered them in advance. So I have books 4, and 5 in hardcover, and then I had book 6 in hardcover. I have that signed and personalized as well. And then when book 1, when Empire of Silence came back in hardcover, I swooped that up. But I just would never have imagined that these two were going to be back in stock so soon, let alone together. So as soon as, I read the newsletter, I think, or saw Rockio's update on YouTube, he does like weekly updates or something like that. It's either weekly or bi-weekly or whatever. I watched it, he said that they're back, and literally I dropped everything and purchased them. Because I've just been waiting for these in hardcover. So I can finally replace the few paperbacks I had. But yeah, as soon as I get home, I'm going to be wrapping these up in the Mylar. They are just beautiful. I can't wait to get to Howling Dark as well. That was on my TBR for the summer, just not looking likely that I'll get to it by then. It's probably going to be pushed back into the fall. But yeah, getting deeper into Sun Eater is on my list, and Howling Dark is up next. So yeah, whenever I do get to it, it'll be in this hardcover edition here. Yeah, I'm just so happy that it's back. Oh man, they're just so cool. I was also interested in looking and getting the Broken Binding editions that were coming out. That was before I knew that these were gonna be back. But then the covers started getting announced and like shown. The artwork in them is awesome, but the covers just aren't great. I feel like, I haven't read that far into the series, but I feel like they could have chosen way better scenes to do. The scenes just seem kind of boring, especially I've read Empire of Silence, and the cover that they chose for that is like, yeah, I guess, but there's like so many other cool scenes that they could have done versus that. And then looking at Demon in White and the Howling Dark cover, it's just people kind of standing around. There's no battles going on. They could have done some really cool battle artwork or something, but no, it's just people standing around. So I'm not gonna get the Broken Binding ones. I just don't really like the covers, and for the price, it's not worth it. And I'm gonna settle for these ones, these hardcovers here, just the regular ones, because I like these covers way more than the Broken Binding ones anyways. The cover for Howling Dark is one of my favorite covers, just in general, of any book. But yeah, I'm gonna just stick with these, and it's cheaper that way anyway. So that is everything that I picked up this month. Again, on a book buying ban now, so I'm not gonna have anything else this month. If I do get something else, it wouldn't be from me buying it. But yeah, if anything, it'll be shown off next month, maybe. But yeah, that is everything I have. Let me clean this stuff up, and let's talk about my reading plans as well as channel updates and what I've been reading. Alright, so what have I read so far this month? Honestly, I have only read Galaxy in Flames. This is the third book of the Horus Heresy, Warhammer stuff. And I finished this at the very beginning of the month, like August 2nd or something like that. I finished it like right after I got back from vacation. And once I finished this, I was divided on what to start next, and I ended up not starting anything yet. It's been a couple weeks since I've done any reading. I've just been focused on other things at the moment, which is what I wanted to talk about mainly, what I have next. Now, originally, what I was going to do was check out Lord of a Shattered Land. This is a book that, like I was saying, the wizard himself has been raving about, and he told me to check it out. My girlfriend got me it, and I was going to read it and do a review, and also do a discussion video featuring the wizard. He was going to come on the channel. We were going to do a thing. The thing is, don't really have the equipment to do a collab kind of thing at the moment. I am piecing together some equipment to hopefully have a pretty decent setup, but that's not looking very realistic at the moment, just because the moving is coming up very soon. So any collab content type stuff that I am to do with anybody isn't going to be until probably the fall, into the end of the year, just because of how things turned out. And because of that, I'm not super worried about just hopping into another new series at the moment. I might wait until closer to then as well. The third book in this series also comes out in October, so if anything, I can just read them back to back to back, and whenever I do a video with the wizard, him and I can just talk about the series as a whole, and he doesn't have to tiptoe around details from the second book when talking about it with me. We can just discuss the trilogy together. That would be really cool. We'll have to see what happens. But yeah, any collab type stuff isn't looking likely for the next couple of months at the very least. Yeah, the moving situation is iffy, and I'll talk more about that here in a second. But yeah, I'm probably not getting to this just yet. That being said, what I do need to get into, what has kind of been calling to me, is Oathbringer. I need to get back to Oathbringer and finish this. That's, I've sort of decided that this is what I need to read next, and finish that last half. But it is so daunting that that's part of the reason why I haven't picked it up yet or read anything in the last couple of weeks, because I feel like it's kind of a chore to get back to this book, and I don't like when reading feels like that, but it is so daunting to get back to it. And also the reason why I haven't gone back to A Song of Ice and Fire is because it's been so long with that one. It's sort of the same feeling that I have. I've heard that the last half of this book is actually really good. You get into the Sanderlanche, it gets huge, it gets crazy, epic, one of the best in the series. But the first half of this book has not treated me well. I might be exaggerating a little bit, but it has been slow, and not in a good way. Way of Kings was slow, but it was enjoyable. Words of Radiance felt slower at some parts, but it was relatively perfectly paced, in my opinion. It had some slow burn parts, but for the most part, Words of Radiance was perfect. This drags. This first half of this book, I like what's happening, but there's just so much unnecessary scenes, I feel like. And it's a huge book. It did not need to be this long, because it's filled with just unnecessary stuff. And yeah, sure, it might be world building or character building, but it is dragging, and that is what's kept me from coming back to Oathbringer all this time. I love the Stormlight Archive. I love these characters. But I feel like, yeah, that's just what's kept me from coming back. I think maybe once I do get started, though, it won't be so bad, and I'll get back into the groove of these characters and Sanderson's writing. But it's just about having the will to get started up again with this. But yeah, this is what I need to get to next. Hopefully I'll pick it back up again in the next week and start reading again. But yeah, it is tough getting back into something like that, especially after, you know, the last half of it, it's like forcing myself to read something I don't really want to read, but I know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So yeah, that's sort of where I'm at with that, and the reason why I haven't really been reading this month. But yeah, that's that. Speaking of Galaxy in Flames, though, I do have a review of the first little trilogy of the Horus Heresy. That should be coming soon. Originally, that was what I was going to film today, but I got this package in the mail like right before I was going to film, and I was like, screw it, let's just do the wrap-up, since that's the last thing I needed to receive for the month, and I wasn't expecting to get it this early. So yeah, that review is still coming soon. Yeah. Anywho, that's my reading plans, what I've been reading, or, you know, lack thereof, and what I have on the table for the next month, probably. I don't know how long it's going to take me to read this. It might still be a couple months that I'm stuck on Oathbringer. Who knows? Now let's talk about channel updates for a second. Like I've been saying, I'm going to be moving here. There's a chance that when I do move that we're going to be living in a hotel for a few months, like between 3 and 6 months, which is crazy. We're moving to Hawaii. My dad's in the military, and the way it works when you move to Hawaii to get into like the military housing is you usually, when you're moving around, you're able to get on a wait list for housing, but with Hawaii, you have to be there before you can even get on the wait list. So we know that we're going there, but we have to actually get there before we can even get onto the wait list. And depending on how long the list ends up being and where we're at on it, it could be a few months, anywhere between 3 and 6 months that we're stuck at a hotel, pretty much. So that's kind of, you know, gross. It might not even be 3 months. It could only be a little while. But the bottom line is we are going to be at a hotel for a bit. That being said, I don't know what content creation is going to look like. It probably won't be as frequent. I might, like I was saying, I might need to step away for a little bit. Coming up here in the next month, just as we're in the moving process. Yeah, I'm not going to have my library with me, obviously, so my selection is going to be, you know, not great. So I don't know what it's going to be looking like. Again, collab type content isn't going to be looking likely for a little while. That might be more of an end of the year kind of thing. So yeah, it's not looking great at the moment, but we'll make things work. If I have to do reviews in a hotel, then I will. Yeah, hopefully I have some alone time to work on this stuff like that, and alone time to read as well. But yeah, that's sort of the situation I'm in. Just thought I'd share that with you guys, so don't be surprised if I do end up stepping away for a little bit. I have this video coming out, and then the Horus Heresy review coming out, but I don't really have anything in the books after that. I mean, whenever I finish Oathbringer, I'll have the Oathbringer review, but I'm not really trying to pick up anything book related for a while. Who knows, I might get that itch. There are some things that come out in the fall that I am looking forward to. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Now, another thing that I wanted to bring up as far as content is I've recently been thinking about bringing back my old channel. If you guys don't know, this isn't my first channel. This isn't my first rodeo. I have a channel called MLG Man, which is my old username Stupid. It's my old Xbox username from when the whole MLG, like, dank memes culture was a thing. It did not stick, but that was my old username. And I did manga reviews and anime reviews and kind of whatever I felt like. And I sort of left that channel and never came back to it, just because I was super disassociated with manga at that point. I went heavy into reading books, and I felt like it didn't have a place. My booktube kind of content didn't have a place on that channel, because I was making a few book reviews and stuff, but that just wasn't what that channel is for, and hence why I started this channel. But recently I've just had an itch to go back to reading some manga, and furthermore, reading some graphic novels and comics. I'm super interested right now. I'm going through a ADHD hyperfixation phase right now, where I'm super interested in reading X-Men and like Wolverine and stuff. I don't know why, I just am. It's probably because I went and saw Deadpool and Wolverine and then saw it again. I saw it twice because I freaking loved that movie. And that just put some stuff on my radar. I have a friend, Alex, who's been reading X-Men, and him and I have been talking about it and where I should start, what I should get into. But I know that the booktube community isn't always very receptive to manga and like graphic novel kind of stuff. So whenever I do, read that stuff or choose to make a review on it, I am going to post it on the other channel. If I do decide that that's something I want to bring back. That being said, it also is taking time away from novels, and also energy as far as like putting out content, because I go through, what I've come to learn is imposter syndrome, I think, where, I feel like my content isn't good enough, and I end up getting really burnt out with making content, and that's why I'll take breaks here and there, more frequently than most, because at the end of the day, this is just a hobby for me. But I don't know. I've been feeling kind of conflicted. I'm in a spot right now where I kind of want to read whatever I want when I feel like it, and I've expressed that a little bit with like TBRs and stuff. But I don't want to feel bad for wanting to read and spend my time doing other things that are not reading novels. Because like it comes down to like, who am I reading for? Am I reading for you guys, or am I reading for me? And I want to read for me. So, there might come a point where you guys don't see a video from me for a minute, because I'm reading other things that don't fit on BookTube, and I'm putting it on my other channel, or, vice versa. I haven't posted on that other channel in a year and a half or something like that, almost 2 years, I think. I'm not sure. But it's been a while, just because I've been so hyper-focused on not reading novels, but there are other things I'm interested in, and yeah, I just don't want to feel bad not wanting to read novels, if that makes sense. So, I went on a whole tangent here. The bottom line is, my whole point in saying this is, there's other things I want to get into, and I might bring back the old channel. We'll just have to see. But yeah, I just want to share that with you guys. I've kind of been thinking about that a lot recently and haven't really had an outlet to talk about it. So let me know what you guys think about that. Yeah, I'd like to hear what you guys think. But anyways, that's about it for today. I know this is a bit of a longer one. I've just sort of been rambling and talking about what I've got going on. It's kind of a lot, so bear with me, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, because I would greatly appreciate it. The link to my Discord server will also be in the description, so you guys can come check it out, hang out, post your book hauls. We can talk about books, manga, anime, comics, whatever. It'd be super cool. Yeah, games even. I also have my library wish list if you guys want to send your boys something. That is also in the description as well. But no pressure there. Yeah, guys, that's about it. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.